Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus. You are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC.
John Coleman.
Dio, what is poppin'?
Well, you and I right now, so just truth be told, I see you're looking at your phone. Hopefully you're checking the time. We have our monthly TLOP town hall meeting right after we record this episode.
Really?
Yes. So please make sure I do not get long-winded. Keep me on point. We're going to do a banger, mashup, 25 minutes or less. Let's just get after it.
Okay.
No bullshitting about UCF football.
Yeah, right.
About what you're wearing, about what you're going to do during your PTO holiday break. Nope, we're doing none of that, John. We're going to get right after it for the people.
Nice. This is the last episode of 2023.
This right here, you know that for a fact.
I think so.
This is the last episode because we're working ahead.
Yeah.
Like truth be told, this happens twice a year based on travel schedules, based on what we are already committed to in terms of getting outside of our home studio office.
Yeah.
And John wanting to take some time off, and even Dio, myself, wanting to take some time off. We do have to work ahead. So we are working ahead. So what you're telling me is this episode will air on January 3rd?
Yes.
January 3rd.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're listening and viewing this, it's January 3rd.
Yeah, so welcome to the new year.
Hopefully you had a great Christmas. Hopefully you had a great new year. And you're ready to go tackle the F out of 2023.
What a time warp thing.
Yeah, you're going to run through a brick wall.
Yeah, get after it.
To pick up everything that 2023 has to offer you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so what are your predictions for 2023, Dustin?
Yeah, let's talk about the predictions for 2023, and we can go multiple ways with this. Like if I went personal, I predict that I'm going to compete in another Ironman, and this time I'm going to do it in 5 hours and 30 minutes. Is that a prediction? Is that what you're looking for? I predict, John, that TLOP is going to increase its downloads from 1 million downloads in 2022. Thank you all for that. Greatly appreciate it. To 5 million downloads in 2023.
There you go.
I predict that the website that you and Dennis launched in January is going to go through V2 and V3 based on a higher rate of participation in feedback, and because we're hiring outside developers to help us incorporate all of the ideas that you and I have had, but we just haven't had the time to implement them.
Yeah.
Okay? Right now, if you went to tloponline.com, you would see we roughly have a little under 2,000 members. I believe it'll be over 10,000 members. 10,000 members we will achieve. That's a 5X. I'm not stopping until we get to 30,000 members. YouTube, we currently have a little over 12,000 subscribers. I believe we'll be at over 20,000 subscribers. We're not stopping until we hit 30. And by the way, y'all, if you know me at all, I don't stop, period. Yeah. JC knows that. He rolls his eyes. He's like, Dio, what happens when we get to 30? I'm like, I don't know. I want 50 then. What happens when we get to 30,000 subs? I'm like, I want 50 subs, right? Like, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm always going to be pushing for more or better. Or I may say, you know what, John, we have 30,000 members on TLOP. How do we bring them more value? John, how do we provide more content to them? How do we make our content better? Because sometimes being in growth mode doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do more. Being in growth mode may very well be, I need to do better with what I have. We talked about that on a couple episodes. We talked about lead conversion, right? You want to make more money. You don't need more leads if you can increase lead conversion. You want to make more money. You don't need more leads if you work on higher quality leads. Okay, so I think you and I will get to a point with TLOP. Right now, we're working on becoming effective. We're then going to next work on becoming efficient.
Word.
Yeah, because I learned that from a business partner of mine, shout out to Brooke, in the real estate investment company that I co-own with him and a couple other guys. He teaches the group, first we become effective, then we become efficient.
Word.
That's where you and I are. That's 2023, but I have a feeling that's not what you're angling for.
Yeah, no.
You want me to go out on a limb like I'm Nostradamus and start making some bold-ass predictions. You want me to tell you like how many hurricanes Florida's going to get, how many wildfires
2023 will be blank for housing. 2023 will be blank for the mortgage industry. 2023 will be blank for my mortgage loan originator friends.
All right, let's
Shit
go.
like that.
All right, let's jump into it.
Okay.
2023 will be a good year for housing, not a great year. We are going to start off first quarter in a massive slump. This is the backside of the housing recession that started third quarter of this year. Okay. It'll be a good year because we have pent up demand, because people really do want to become homeowners. There's a lot of 33 and 36-year-olds out there, like the most on record since the baby boomer generation, that want to become homeowners. But they didn't want to maybe become homeowners at 7.25% interest rates. They didn't want to become homeowners if they weren't totally convinced that there wasn't a housing bubble, which, by the way, there isn't a housing bubble. But they weren't convinced of that. It'll take them to get into the spring before they're like, all right, cool. Yeah. I'm good with this. I'm good with where I work. I'm good with where I make. I like rates being where they are. And I'm convinced that even if I buy a house and it goes down by 3% in value, I'm not buying it to make money on it today. I'm buying it because I need a place to live. I'm buying because I value home ownership, and I'm buying it because I don't want to pay someone else's mortgage. Might as well pay my own. Right? Because that is something that I once did. I once bought a house, I think the year was 2011. I wasn't convinced that I was buying that house at the bottom. I knew I was buying it close enough to the bottom. I knew that my wife and I had 2 children. I knew that we were outgrowing the house that we were in. We wanted to be in a certain school district. I knew I could afford the payment. And I knew if I didn't buy the house, I'd have to deal with her bitching at me for another year. And by the way, she doesn't bitch at me, but she would just quietly suggest and ask questions like, why do we still live here? How come we haven't bought a house?
Scold you.
Okay. So I may have used that for dramatic effect. Okay. My wife's a lovely person.
You had to correct yourself because she's
Right?
going to listen, and you
Right?
fear of God in you.
Luckily, she's like, Dustin, I have to hear you all freaking
Yeah,
day
what the hell?
and all weekend.
You don't think? Yeah.
I don't listen to you on your podcast.
She might actually. She might actually be the only place she actually listens to your ass is on the podcast because you're not there.
So making a prediction, there's going to be people who come out and buy. And by the way, I was sharing my personal story because I do believe that. Like I was okay buying a house for $390,000, where if I waited another 6 or 9 months, I could have picked up that same house for $370,000 or even $65,000. But the house was perfect for us, and the neighborhood was perfect for us, and the school system was perfect for us, and I could afford the payment, and I had enough for the down payment that me waiting and trying to time the market, like there was no guarantees that I would ever get it right. And if I did time the market, what if something catastrophic happened, like mortgage rates shot up, and then it wouldn't have mattered. So I bought at the time because it made sense for me. And I think many home buyers are going to be willing to do that, especially the well-educated ones are going to be willing to do that. So you asked me, what is the housing market going to be? It's going to mirror something like it did in 2014, 2015 in terms of number of sales. Obviously, because of appreciation, then the volume, right? Realtors get paid on volume. Loan officers get paid on volume. The volume is going to be much greater. If I had a fear, my fear is that people are going to be tricked into thinking the year is better than it really was because of volume. Oh, look at the volume I did compared to the volume I was doing 5 months ago. I'm like, well, look, volume isn't indicative of how many actual transactions there are. And volume isn't indicative of how hard you worked or how effective you were at your job. Volume a lot of times is indicative of what the market has done. So I caution people to celebrate volume too much. We get awards in sales based on volume. We get to go on trips in sales based on volume. But volume doesn't necessarily equal more income. Because what if in order to do that volume, I had to do it at a lower gross profit margin, which was then a lower net profit margin? So then I have to ask myself, would I have rather done 1.5 transactions in 2016, but at a higher profit margin, if I'm a realtor, a 6% listing versus a 5% listing?
Right.
Okay. So same thing is applying to the mortgage industry, the title industry, even the insurance industry. Yes, those premiums are higher, but is your payout on the premium congruent or consistent to what it was 5-6 years ago. But I do believe in my heart of hearts that 2023 is going to be a good year, not a great year. Why is it not going to be a great year? Because we have to get through first quarter. And first quarter is going to be icy and wintry. All right. So there's my projection on that. What was your other question?
If I'm a loan officer, 2023 will be gangbusters for refis. It will be tough. It will be fun to enter the industry. It will be blank.
Okay. If I am a loan officer, 2023 will be a much better year to enter the mortgage industry than 2022. I'm a big fan of this when it comes to entering the industry. The right time is when you're ready. It's also when's a good time to start a family? When you're ready. How do you know you're ready? You kind of don't. You got to follow your gut. You got to sit down and figure it out, right? If you're a loan officer, I'd ask yourself, are you in a place where you're ready to get after it? Like get after it, hardcore, like get consumed with this opportunity. Like want to get to know everything, be at every event, pick every person's brain. Nothing's going to hold you back. Like you would go sniff farts out of a seat cushion if it meant that you could gain an upper hand in knowledge. Like that's what I mean when I say get after it. And can you survive for 6 months not getting a paycheck? Because that's what it takes. It takes that type of mentality. It also takes that type of like risk aversion to make it. But I think any market is a good market. They all have their pros and they all come with their cons. I can talk about many reasons why it wouldn't have been a good time to get into the mortgage arena in 2020 and 2021. Yet people did it, right? Guys like Mike Williams and Jimmy Nadeau did it and they crushed it. And they're still crushing it. So I could also, I think that goes both ways. But if I had to compare the 2 years, yeah, I would much rather, if I could choose, someone get in 2023 than 2022. Sure.
You think there's going to be a lot of refis like it was in 2020?
So I'm going to, my stance on this has changed a little bit once I started looking at the data, right? We've done episodes in the past, like Know Your Numbers.
Right.
Like I started analyzing the data and I just heard this and I think I'm going to get it pretty accurate. I think 95% of every outstanding home loan right now has an interest rate of below 5%.
Damn.
So what that tells me is that even if and when rates come down to 5.25%, the only people who I'm refinancing are the people that obtained a home loan sometime between August of 2022 through about February of 2023. And most of those people, not most, a good portion of them might not have enough equity to refinance because they very well could have purchased a home in September at $425,000 and the value of that home today is $415,000. That's not a bad thing, by the way. I never want people to say, oh God, I lost money on my house. You don't lose it until you have to sell it. It's kind of like my 401k, right? My 401k may be down 10%. And what if I had 200 grand in there? Oh my God, I'm down 20 grand. No, I'm not. I can't touch that 401k until I'm 59 and a half. The market's down. My 401k is down. I continue to contribute to it, right? So I bought a house. Did I buy the house to flip it? No, you didn't. You're not a real estate investor. You bought the house because you needed a place to live. You bought a house because you wanted something that was your own. You bought a house because you wanted to take advantages of home ownership. So if it went down from 425 to even to 400, and then it goes back up to 410, then it goes back up to 420, and then in 5 years, it's only worth 450. But this is like worst case scenario, boys and girls. Like, okay, you still own something that's worth 450 that you bought for 425 and you've paid down that mortgage. Like, and took advantage of like being able to write off what you pay in real estate taxes and write off what you pay in interest on your personal taxes if you fit in that bucket where that works for you. So, for loan officers, I don't know how I got off on that tangent, John. I apologize. But for loan officers, 2023 will be a better year than 2022.
Cool.
Facts.
Okay.
Facts. You asked about refinances. They will be there, but not as many as you think. However, think about this. We weren't doing any cash out refinances with rates in the 7s.
Amen.
When you had to pay 3 points and a rate in the 7s to a cash out refi. If I can get a cash out refi at 5 3/4 with no points, look, even if that person currently has a mortgage rate of 4.5 or even 3.5, that cash out refi may be life changing to them, life altering, at which point you can stomach increasing your mortgage rate by 1 or 1.5 percentage points, even 2 percentage points, if it means you get to eliminate $60,000 of consumer debt, if it means you get to lower your monthly outgoing expenses by $1,100, like we've done for many clients throughout our practice throughout the years with cash out refis. Like, we're doing true debt consolidation. We're giving them money to help them start a business. We're allowing them access to their equity so they can do these home improvements, right? We're giving them money so they can't afford that divorce. We're giving them money so that they can afford that medical procedure.
Right.
Okay, so like, I do see that we'll have the ability to do more cash out refis once rates come down to 5.25, but it's not going to be like this massive windfall the way we saw it even in the HARP, which is the Home Affordability Refinance Program from like 2011 and 12. In the HARP boom, we had a bunch of refis. And in 2002 and 2020 and 2021, we had a bunch of refis. We're not going to get a bunch, but if you currently run a mortgage branch or a mortgage company where your business model was 80-20, 80% purchase loans, 20% refis, in 2022, that was like 99% purchase, 1% refi. In 2023, you may very well be able to get it back to 85-15, which, hey, 85-15 is better than 99-1. That means you're 15xing the number of refis.
There you go.
Okay. What's your next question?
In 2023, home inventory will be blank.
Can I use the word shitty?
Still?
Yes. This inventory issue is not going away. And it's because of that. It's why I and many others who are much more experienced and much smarter than I am do not forecast a housing bubble. In order for something to have bubble-like characteristics, you have to have an oversupply of inventory, a gluttony of inventory. That is what happened in 2006. Builders were building homes faster than I can go fill my water bottle. Like, it was like just rapid pace. That has not happened for over a decade. In fact, builders are not building enough homes to keep up with demand. You have sellers aren't going to want to necessarily sell when they're sitting at 3.5, right? Because they have to now stomach that. God, do I want to sell and go from my current mortgage of 3.5 to my new mortgage of 5.25? It's a lot easier for someone to stomach that than it was to go from 3.5 to 7. So yes, we'll see more sellers, but it's not going to be enough sellers. And we're going to see more construction as we start seeing unemployment numbers go up. That'll put less pressure on the labor market. That'll make labor a little bit less expensive for home builders. As we work through the not the assembly line issues, the
supply chain
issues, it'll start making supplies more affordable, at which point you'll see builders start building the minute a builder can turn a profit. In order to turn a profit, their supplies must be able to go down. Their supplies must need to be predictable. Right now, that's a problem. If I order windows today, it's 12 weeks to get them, and what's the cost? If I need concrete in 3 months, I don't know how much concrete is going to be worth in 3 months. If I need lumber, same thing, right? This is the issue home builders have. We need home builders building, but we need them building at least 1 million units a year, and they're not doing that right now. So you're going to see home buyers come off the sidelines when rates go from 7.25, they're now at 6.5, on their way down to 5.5, maybe even 5.25. They may even touch 4.875. Okay. What you'll see is the minute that starts happening, we still won't have enough inventory. There's going to be a decent amount of people who won't want to sell their house because they're locked in at super cheap interest rates, and builders aren't building fast enough to keep up with demand. Therefore, advantage sellers.
There you go.
Okay.
I have a good one. Maybe we can wrap up on this, or because we have time constraints. 2023, as far as technology in the industry, do you see technology and new technologies emerging in 2023 having a major impact on the mortgage space?
Oh, wow. You are asking me a question that is the world according to Dustin Owen.
Yeah, let's end with that.
Ooh, so I'm probably going to ruffle some feathers here. And my answer is based on my bubble that I live in, okay, the circle I run in, and sometimes it's made with blinders on versus you want to be this time blinders off.
All right.
Right? Like when you're trying to get shit done, you put your blinders on and your head down. But when I'm trying to be a thought provocateur, and I want to be open-minded, I got to take blinders off. Man, here's my take on technology. We got a lot of it. It is not making anything cheaper in terms of producing loans. It is increasing cost, and it hasn't made anything more efficient. It just makes things different. Now, I'm not saying technology is not going to shape the future of the industry. I'm not saying that they're not going to figure out how to reduce cost, how to drive costs down, how to increase efficiencies, because I can see that being chipped away. But there is more technology than there are people willing to adopt and adapt that technology, right? So there's a rift going on. Tech's trying to come in, and pale mail and stale is resistant to it, right? And it's going over like oil and water. So in 2023, do I see any big tech disruption? Nah, I don't. Will I see the tech industry continue to chip away and for pale mail and stale to push back? And they're going to push back for rightful reasons. Hey, guys, we've been buying your crap for the past 10 or 20 years. I'm watching my cost to produce a loan increase record numbers. I'm looking at my efficiency, and I'm not doing more with less. That's what technology is supposed to let me do. How do I produce more loans with less people? How do I drive my costs down to produce that loan? And it's not happening. So no, I'm not very bullish on some big like technology advancement that's going to be waving a magic wand and voila, we're all out of a job, or voila, I can now make double the money doing the same amount of work. We're not there yet. We'll continue to chip away.
Cool.
You didn't ask about interest rates. Probably because we've talked about it openly.
Oh no, I was gonna end with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with it. Mortgage interest rates are at 5.5, 5.25 by the end of first quarter. By the end of first quarter. If I'm wrong, it'll be by June. June technically is the second month of second quarter, just FYI.
For shits and giggles, it's December 20th when we're recording this. Just timestamp it. What do you think interest rates will be this time next year, 2023?
They will be in the low fives, if not high fours.
Okay.
Because here's what I don't know. I know that we're currently in a housing recession. I know that this housing recession is pushing us into a world, it'll be a worldwide, but at least a entire country recession. And we don't know to the extent of this recession, right? You want to hear in terms of, it's going to be a hard landing or a soft landing. That's basically how much is this recession going to hurt? Is it going to be ripping a Band-Aid off, or is it going to be rubbing salt in a wound? Right? Both are painful, but one more painful than the other.
Right.
And if it's a hard landing and we see unemployment go higher than we anticipated, if we start driving inflation down faster than anticipated, then we could see mortgage rates back into the high fours. If it's a softer landing, they'll probably stay in the mid fives.
Well, you heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's going to be a good market. It's going to be a better year than 2022. I'm telling our loan officers to anticipate 15% increase if they don't change their effort. You can see a 25% increase if you increased your effort by just 10%. The market's going to give you, just like the market's going to take away. There's many loan originators and mortgage branch managers and CEOs and owners of mortgage companies this year that worked, and I'm one of them, by the way. I worked 50% harder and I made 70% less.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's not. Let's hope I don't have to do that again for another 12 years or 14 years.
Yeah.
But hey, that's a byproduct of the market giveth and the market taketh away.
Yeah.
On that note, so you're listening to this, it is 2023.
Yeah.
It is 2023, y'all. Let's get after it.
Yeah.
Let's get after it. Let's put a smile on our face, right? The only things that we can impact is our attitude and our effort. That's all we can control. Let's have a good attitude. Let's give consistent effort. Let's get after it. His name is John Coleman. My name is Dustin O, and you have tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast. If you're tuning in for the first time, we thank you. If you are a TLOPer, we love you.
Yeah.
Please continue to like us, share us, give us a 5-star review, check out our website, and consider becoming at least a freemium member, if not a premium member. The website is theloanofficerpodcast.com. Have a great year. Make it your best. Peace.
Bye.